Imagine, you're in 3rd grade, being handed a stack of paper this big, and you're told that the entire year depends on this one test. That every class that you're placed in depends on this one exam. You feel anxiety, right? Well, this is and has been the norm for thousands of schools around the country. According to a 2015 study done by the Alliance for Excellent Education, American students individually spend around 25 hours a year taking state-sanctioned tests. Totaled up, one student could take around 300 hours worth of exams from 1st grade up until they graduate from high school. Today, I'd like to discuss the negative effects of standardized testing, such as stressing students, forcing teachers to teach by test, and assessing students inaccurately, and what we might do about that. As someone who recently graduated from public high school, I can understand the struggle of standardized tests. I've also further researched this subject from various universities, such as Harvard, and other sources from both teachers and students. To begin, let us learn how the testing works and its effects. Testing can be harmful to the school system. Rebecca Stallman, a teacher who can give first-hand perspective on the testing, states that students are grouped into percentile ranking. The average score of the norming group sets the standard for that test. If a child gets a certain score on their test, that means that child will be compared to the norming group and subsequently placed into classes that adhere to that test score. School is a student's main stressor, and many sources show that tests, especially state-sanctioned ones, cause the most pressure. Christina Simpson, a Harvard graduate, wrote this in her research essay entitled Effects of Standardized Testing on Students' Well-Being. She mentions that around 20 booklets on exam days are discarded because students get sick on them. Not only did students vomit, but they also cried either during or after the test, and some even lost control of their bowels or bladders. In a similar case, Rebecca Stallman, as mentioned before, had given her 3rd grade class that year's test, and a student laid his head down and cried when he could not finish. By now, you can see how difficult tests can be for students, not only emotionally, but physically. Educators face many obstacles. I also believe their pay should be much more deserving. They educate the future of the nation, but their pay or job in general could be in the hands of their students. Some counties have teachers' pay based on the test scores of students. This leads to many teachers focusing their lesson plans on standardized testing rather than solely the subject. This is more commonly known as performance pay. In 2017, a study done by the journalist Resources discussed how performance pay showed that it had no positive effects on educators, and that there was difficulty in distinguishing performances between teachers who had higher and lower pay. Teachers potentially could take advantage of this situation by not teaching as proficiently and getting the same pay as an educator who gave a higher effort. Not only is standardized testing unfair to teachers, but also students. When a student takes a standardized test, many aspects could affect that student's score. What if the room is too hot or too cold, or too dark or too bright? The surroundings have an impact on the student, and so do personal matters. Some students are better test takers than others. Students deal with anxiety or hardships in different ways. The University of Lethbridge asked the question, what if the student goes through an emotional moment before the test and it hinders his or her performance? Every student and test situation are different. I believe that standardized testing only indicates whether or not a student is a good test taker, said Elizabeth Serrano Salgado, a student with first-hand perspective of standardized tests. Some may say that exams show where the student is academically and provides a benchmark for the state, school, and parents. However, each student is subjected to a different environment that the state cannot control. So because there is no control over this, how is it deemed fair? It's upsetting that children and teachers are subjected to this. So you might be wondering what you can do about it. I'm here to tell you. To remove standardized testing, there are a number of things you can do. The first is attending school board meetings. This is the strongest effect you can have. However, if you cannot attend any meetings, there are online petitions on websites such as www.change.org. One petition I found that would assist in this advancement is by Courtney Fugate. She wants to amend the Autistic Comprehensive Assessment Program, also known as TCAP, for 3rd graders due to the pandemic. If you have a child, you may also contact their school and request that they not be assessed in that manner. Helping the cause is literally at the push of a button. If you are still undecided, maybe this can change your mind. Standardized testing is helpful to no one. It tells students and teachers that they are less important than a test. Very reputable organizations such as NPR have also agreed that standardized testing is old-fashioned and cannot be applied to modern schools. I believe without standardized testing, that the school system will have a huge pressure lifted off of it and that education will blossom. For the sake of your children, make sure they know that they are more important than a test. As you may tell, so many are already against standardized testing. And if you want the children, the future of this country, to succeed, you should consider asking for its removal. Be an active member in your school board. Look out for petitions, because if not, who will look out for our children? Think of the days when you were in school, and think about how some kids reacted. Think about all the educators who are being underpaid due to the test. Think about the future children in schools. Thank you.